All right. Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's lecture. This is the penultimate lecture. So it's quite interesting that we've been able to get to this point. Week 16 or lecture 16 out of 17. So yeah, congratulations to all of you that are here, and I hope you enjoy this class. As usual, please fill our feedback forms and the attendance form so we can track you, know that you're here, and then have you in our system. Also, today with us, we have Foutse, a PhD student working at the intersection of graphs and natural language processing for recommender systems. She has co-founded a number of communities, and she also serves as a co-organizer for communities like Women in Machine Learning Data Science, Deep Learning in Daba, Black in AI. As you probably find out, she's from France and she's schooled in France. I'm sure you would enjoy this session because recommendation systems are interesting and there are things that we interact with. So, over to you. I'll say after.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me. So today, like the moderator just said, we are going to talk about recommendation systems. And what I prepared for this course is as follows. I will introduce myself a little bit more in details of stuff, and present the motivation why do we need recommendation system, why did this field emerge. I define it, and I present to you the two main methods of recommendation system. Then we will dive deeper into one of them, which is the matrix factorization method. And I will present globally advantages and disadvantages of recommendation systems and present to you some examples. In between the course, we will have a little bit of exercise to kind of warm up and see if we are following what we are doing. So about myself, I am Foutse Yuehgoh. I'm a PhD student like you just heard. I work on a recommendation system, which combines the fields of ML, graphs, and NLP. Out of my PhD studies, sorry? There are people that are on mute. I don't know if they are talking to me. Okay. Outside of PhD studies, I volunteer in a couple of organizations where I either founded, like KAMEI, Omdina, and Women Promoting Science to the Younger Generation. The goal is to vulgarize science in general, and I co-organize conferences with Black in AI, with Indaba and Indaba X, Cameroon, where and Indaba is where I met Teju. And I also co-organize with Women in Machine Learning. The central point of all this organization is that the goal is to vulgarize science, and in particular AI. I love doing that, and that's why motivated my interest in preparing you this course. I hope the course will be interesting and digestive enough for the whole public that is present here. So let's start with the motivation. Why did we need the recommendation systems? Remember that before technology evolved, we dealt with information compiled in documents, and before you have to find some information, you have to go through tons of documents, which was already a boring task, right? Then came technology, and everything was numerized, and we have a lot of information also in our computers and a bunch of them in the web. And you still have the same problem, like you're overloaded with information, and when you're looking for something, you don't find. Same when you're watching TV. Before you had the CDs or the big cassette, I think, which is very, very old. And you could easily choose which one you want to watch, and you will not even bother yourself to have a lot of cassette that you've not seen, because you kind of compile them easily. But now on platforms like Netflix, where you have a bunch of movies that is present there, and sometimes when you just want to distract yourself, you can pass 90% of your time just scrolling and looking looking at the beginnings of each movie and wondering which one to stop with. So all of these issues brought about the need for a way to filter information and present to you just what you need, and in such a way that you're satisfied. And that really helps companies that are providing products like Netflix or online marketing and stuff like that. So how do we see recommendation system? How can we define it? It's a system that whose goal is to filter information that it provides to a user. It tries to select the key things that someone would probably like in a bunch of things that is provided to that person. I present here the example of Amazon, hoping that everyone is familiar with the Amazon platform. You realize that when you try to browse through things on Amazon and or buy it, like just put it in your basket, they show you all the stuff that you're probably likely to have, or other users, they tell you like frequently bought together and stuff like that. This is thanks to the information you left on your website. Like when you created your account, probably you previously mentioned the kind of things you like, or they instantly extracted from the informations, the things you're selecting and the things you're previously buying. So that's what the recommendation system itself it's about. So globally, what we try to do in a recommendation system is that you want to use previous information and study those previous information and try to optimize your way of presenting things to an individual. For example, let's say we have individuals that watch particular movies. So I put here a couple of lists, hoping that some of you have watched some of them. Those are movies available on Netflix. And here, these individuals, the arrows show the movie that they have watched. And when there is no arrow, they simply didn't watch the movie. And the tick arrow trying to say that they really enjoyed the movie. And the thin arrow tries to show that they maybe didn't like it that much, or they didn't like it at all. So knowing this information, with the recommender system, what we try to do is predict the other information we don't have. We are interested in knowing if this guy is going to love which among these movies he didn't see yet. So basically, we are trying to predict these missing links, these other arrows that we don't know. Can we predict them with the information? That's the question we're asking ourselves. And this brings us to a representation of the whole information that we have between individuals and items in the form of a matrix representation. I see messages in the other. It's okay. It doesn't concern me. So far, do we get it? Are we on point? Do you globally see the big picture? What we are trying to do here? So having that matrix, let's say our tick line is telling us that individual Violet, he did like Wakanda when we saw. So he gave a rating of 5 to that movie. And the other movie that had a thin line, they gave it a rating of 3. And we don't know what they are thinking about this other matrix. Same for each and every one. So these are let's say we have the ratings they gave to the movies that they've watched. And then what we want to know is how will they likely rate the other movies that they didn't know. So that's the whole point of the recommendation system. And particularly also the matrix factorization we are going to see further. So globally, to summarize what are the two objectives of a recommendation system algorithm are, from previous lectures, I think you've seen many methods of predicting stuff. So these methods are going to be helpful also in building your recommendation systems. And the goal is, how do you model your problem so that like you come up to your objective of what you're trying to do, then you use the other predictive methods to try to predict what you're trying. So with recommendation system, you have two things your algorithm can do. It can either try to classify a list of items in according to importance of the items to the user, or it will try to predict the relevance of each items to specific users. But this is just the algorithm. So the recommendation system itself is more than its algorithm. So once you've had an algorithm that does the job you want it to do, you have a whole process of other chunks of the systems, which will deal with how you extract the information, how you convey the recommendations you have to the user, how you filter it based on the different contexts, how you store. So that's why I summarize here by saying that the recommender system itself, it's a combination of the recommendation algorithm and system engineering is the part, all the other stuff you do to build the system. Is there any question at this point? Is it clear what we are trying to achieve with the recommendation system? Any question in the audience? Feel free to unmute yourself and let me know. All right, in the chat if you want. Everything's clear? Okay. So that being said, let's look at some methods of recommendation systems. Let's see. Okay, all clear. Good. So diving into the methods. The first method that we could think of is the content-based filtering. You want to base yourself on the contents of the characteristics of the items that a user has the habit of utilizing or dealing with, and you want to predict what are the other items he's likely to watch. So content-based filtering basically focuses on the contents of the item. So this information summarizes, like you have an individual that used to read books of the author Amanda Gorman, and the tendency of a content-based filtering will recommend either poetry books or books by the same author. So here this example shows you an example of recommendation based on an author. This is content-based filtering. So if it is clear, let's take this example. We have an individual that we know that likes science fiction movies and likes movies that are directed by actor A and actor B. And he gave a couple of ratings to movies directed by director X, like high rating, like he loves movies that are directed by this author, he loves movies where he have this actor in, and he loves science movie. So what are the couple of recommendations that you see basing yourself on content-based filtering? What among these movies, which movies will you recommend? And what is your argument? You can either, you see film 5, and I would like to tell me why. So it's better you unmute yourself so that you can tell me why you want to recommend.
Film 5 fits the genre, it's science fiction. It stars actor B, and since he has the high rating for films directed by Director X, also directed by Director X.
Great. And do you think it's the only one that
No,
you
it's
recommend him?
highest.
What, pardon?
It's not the only one, but it fits everything. So I think that would be the first one to be recommended.
Exactly. I do agree with you as well. And which other ones would you recommend? Let's say you
One,
have to recommend at least four of them. Like, which one will you recommend and which one will you not recommend? Like, for example.
okay, I'll recommend film one, um, film three, film one and film three, and film four because it has actor A too.
Okay.
I won't recommend okay, I also recommend film two. That's strange. That's Director X.
Sorry, what did you say?
Um the so in order of recommendations, I recommend film five because it fits the three
Mm,
characteristics under this profile. Then film one and film three because they partially feel it's science fiction. Film one as actor A, and then film three as director X, director X. But then film two and film four, just because director film two, I also recommend it, and then because actor is a film four, I also recommend it. For those that like the two lowest ones.
awesome. Thank you so much. Anyone else have something, a different order of recommendation they would like to share with us? Anyone else? Let me see. Are you speaking in the chat? Damilola, do you want to share your own order of recommendation if it's different?
No, I agree with what she said. I
Do you
would
have
recommend
exactly
film
the same?
five. Yeah,
Now, other
then
than five, which ones would
five.
you recommend?
Yeah, one and three also because they fit two out of three of our preference. And film two and four, not really sure about those ones because the only one that they have. But if she has watched the all three of them, then maybe the last two as the last resort because they feel at least one of our preference.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing. You guys are all right.
Yeah,
Sorry. Ah, someone was calling. Who's it? Yeah,
yeah.
say. Yes.
Okay. What I can't. I don't know why. Okay. Me a recommendation I based on. I will recommend that. It's supposed to be film five because if why am I saying this is because film one and three they are being directed by a different director and if you see the profile for this person is being he only likes the movie which is directed by X. Can I base my argument using that?
Well, you don't have just that argument. You know many things about the person. So you can combine them or, you know. The idea is you know that he likes science fiction movie. So the tendency is basically if you see science fiction movie, you will like to recommend them. Then you know that he prefers films that are starred by these actors A and B. So you look who are the leading actors in this movie. You have A, B in these ones, and they are science movie. The weight is higher for these two. Here, the weight is not that high because you didn't have actor B nor A, but it's science fiction. So it's not excluded, but it's a candidate, but he's a lesser candidate than these two because this one, you think he is highly going to like them. Then you go on the directors, you know he likes director X, and you come to the movies, this one is even actor X, pardon. And on this one, which also qualified, Bert is not the same actor. So it's a candidate, but not that easy. But here you have director X. So these ones are having the same weight now. Do we agree?
Yes, I agree.
Voilà. So now who is having the greater weight is just movie 5, like the lady previously said. So then you come now, we are in 2023. There are high chances that I will love recent movie than very old movie. That's subjective. That's subjective. That's my argument. And then amongst these two that had the same level somehow of interest, it was who and who again? It was 1 and 3. We see that 3 is recent. It's more recent than 1. So I might give a higher weight to 3 because it's more recent than film 1, which is since 2018. But someone else can think otherwise, and the person is not wrong. The final decision is to the user. Will they like it? But yeah, just to show you how you use the information that you know about the content, and you try to weigh each items and see which of them is likely to be recommended or not. You get the point. It's not that you focus on one. Do you follow? So I think the lady really expressed her interest as well. Okay, thanks. So like we see, we all agree that we can recommend film 1, film 3. No, it's in the waiting room. I'll leave the moderator do that. Oh, sorry. So someone is in the waiting room. So following this example, this our user, from what we know, we recommend them based on their interest is here. So we see that we will recommend movie 5, but I will also argue that we can recommend movie 4. Who disagrees? Anyone objecting recommendation of movie 4? Any objection? Be bold and object. And you object? Who objected?
I object.
You object. What's your argument?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your argument?
My argument is based on the preference of the person who is watching the movie. Like you can see the genre for film 4 is a horror, and and the user was more like a science fiction movie. So anytime he just sees more horror, then he won't like it.
Okay, I have a question for you. Do you have a favorite actor that you really love to watch his movie? Like when it's there, you want to watch. Do you have one?
Yeah, I have one.
What's the name of the actor?
Michael Javin.
Michael who?
Javin.
What kind of movie does he like? Does he play?
He play action movies.
Okay, he plays only action movies?
Actually, it's only that.
Okay, he only plays. So do you want to tell me that if today he plays let's say, a horror movie, you won't watch it?
Okay, first of all, I will watch it.
So you
10
agree
minutes.
with me that you can recommend him for as well?
Well, hey, okay, I will recommend.
Yeah, just to point you that not because one movie just had one quality that you totally disqualify. Maybe it's not going to have the great weight according to our methods, but in reality, don't dissociate reality and your methods. Always take reality, because this is a real problem. Like, you are trying to recommend to people. So you have to also always embody the people point of view. And you are part of the people. And you watch movies. So start by asking yourself, if I were the one they are recommending to. You get my point? Okay. So that being said, the content-based recommendation systems, however, has strengths as well as weaknesses. So the good thing with them is that they have the ability of recommending items if we don't have any information regarding interaction of an individual on stuffs. Like an example is, previously Amazon had a recommendation based strictly on content. And to achieve that, when you create an account, they ask you a couple of questions that you fill in. And from there, they know approximately the kind of things you like. And based on that, they make a filter of a couple of things to present to you first before you enter into that bunch of stuff that they have on Amazon. So that was thanks to content based filtering. Because of a user able to present their preferences, you can recommend them things. Or because an item is new and then you already know what a user have previously loved on your platform, based on the content of those things they previously loved, you can make a relationship with the new item that came, content-wise, and then you can estimate if it's gonna be interesting or not. So it gives you that capability. You can recommend it to the person, and so on and so forth. And in this way, you are strictly recommending based on the content of items, no personal information of the user, actually, no direct personal information, because the taste of the person, you somehow have it already via this content. But and somehow it is in that sense that we say privacy is ensured here, because we are strictly all navigate around the items, and you can understand why you are recommending this. Like the recommendation we just did, we know why we are giving him movie film 1, we know why we are giving film 5, we even know why we classify film 5 to the top, and why film 4 is likely to come in the last of our list, because we are in the benefit of doubt, like, yeah, maybe he loves the actor so much that no, he will not resist watching his horror movie, for example. So you can strictly understand your system and know why you are giving this. But now, the system in reality will not really last longer, because you will end up only focusing on things the user has interacted with, because you're just on the content. So it means that you will fall into the logic that we argued here right now. Like I was suggesting of proposing the horror movie, but you were like, no, he doesn't like horror, and he only has the director, which is not maybe a significant argument to recommend. It's just one. So you're giving him low things. And so it means that you will intoxicate him with the same thing. Like, imagine if I have a list of science fiction, actor A, director X, science fiction, and so on and so on. You will not allow him to discover new content, because you want to strictly match the content he previously had with you. And what if you don't have? What if you don't have enough information about this content? Then your method is limited. Do you get my point? So with this method, you need the user necessarily to give you information about some of his taste. You need his profile explicitly told to you. What if he doesn't? Today, we feel bored when we want to come to a platform and you have a bunch of information that they're asking you, feel this, feel that. Let your users breed diversity. Exactly. Definitely. They need to breed diversity. I 100% agree with you. So this method is limited as it suffers too much on the content. It's too focused on the content. Some example of existing content-based recommendation are sites here, which is an automatic citation indexing platform. And we have Libra. It's a book recommendation system. It uses information about books gathered on the internet and recommends books based on that. So it's kind of resembles search engine somehow. And I added the link. You can look at it after and see how they are working. They specifically based on content. Now we have the collaborative filtering method. Here you want to go beyond, like you want to diversify a little bit. You don't want to focus on only the content. Like, the word that c'est quoi? Those that fly together were together. Man, I've forgotten. I've forgotten to say that people that hang around together tends to like the same things, right? Who remembers the the quote? Who will help me and refuse this disgrace of forgetting a quote that I love to use, but I've forgotten how it is said, but you get the point, right? We hang around together, we like the same things, probably there are high chances. So collaborative filtering tries to use that idea. All these methods come from us, like we observe our habits, then we say, oh yeah, why not do this way instead? Like, if I know that my colleague, thank you, Teju. Based on the same feather flock together, that's what I was looking for. Exactly, thanks. So it really went from this principle, like, if we are friends, then if I can identify some similarity between two people, I can extrapolate other similarities that exist and are not yet visually present. So collaborative filtering goes on that. So based on the fact that these two ladies watched Blood Sister Citation. Who watched Blood Sister? I really did love the movie. Who watched it? Am I the only one who watched it? Me, I love to watch Nigerians. So all these movies that I presented here, those are movies I watched. Yeah, if you didn't watch, please go and watch Blood Sister. You should watch. It was really nice. I really did enjoy it. And so because these two ladies, they watched, and that this lady, she watched this movie, then I'm guessing the lady here is likely to watch it. And that is why she's been recommended the movie as well. So collaborative filtering is trying to extract common information about individual and then recommend to another individual what the other similar individual to them have watched. So now let's come back to another example now. And now we are trying to identify the movies we are going to recommend. The goal here is to first identify who are the similar individual to our target individual. Our target individual is this one, the last one. Our target user is the last one. And we want to first identify who are similar. So please tell me, who amongst these users are similar to target user and why? Try to guess that by identifying how they rated these movies. Over to you. Unmute your mic and share with us. Always argument your answer. Don't just say user one. Why user one? Argument your answer. Please. You can unmute yourself if you can. Damilola.
Okay, user one and gave the same ratings as the target user for movie A and movie C. They both gave 4 for movie A and 5 for movie C. So I think user one is the most similar to the target user.
So following your argument, which movie will you then recommend to target user?
Movie E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other similarity do you observe among the other users?
I may also recommend movie D or movie E. Okay, movie D and movie E because user two also rates movie C highly and even rates movie D even more highly, and then user three that rates movie A the same 4 that the target user rates movie A as, also rates movie E 4. So I think movie A and movie D.
You will recommend movie E and movie D. And nothing else? You think he will not like movie B, for example, since you didn't mention it? You're sure?
I think movie B maybe the last as
The
a
last
last
one
resort.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it does not really have much similarity with user 4.
Thank you so much. And yeah, your arguments are very solid. I totally agree with you. Anyone else has another argument and recommendations for this movie that you will recommend to target user? Any other contribution? Do you agree? Do you disagree? You're free to disagree, but always argument your statement. Any other? You agree? You agree? Okay. Yeah, me too. I do agree with your analysis. And I had the benefit of the doubt that he will love movie B. Even if no one seems to agree to that. But my argument here of recommending him movie B is that we at least have if I want to sum up the ratings I have about individuals who watched and rated, I would say overall it's not bad. It's not that bad, the ratings they gave to the movie. And because of that, and the similarity you already identified with user 4, and he really rated movie B highly, I will also recommend him movie B. Do you agree with me, Demi Lola? Do you see where I'm coming from with this this idea of, you guys like to write in the chat? Yeah, they rated movie E very small. I do agree. Okay. Well, this is why there exists an interest that is deducted from the composition of people, actually. So here is not tick tack. Like amongst individual, you can see two individual that you combine their interests and it gives the interest of someone else. And I think it's the mixture of that permits us to, like, we can recommend, like, for example, the first idea was to recommend E because that was thanks to user 1. But we identified that user 4 is also similar somehow to this user, in the fact that, bon, the similarity with user 4, they both watch they both watch movie C, but they rated it differently, and the difference between their rating is a bit big, right? But not too big, like not too bad, like 3 and 5. 3 is not bad though, but they didn't like it to the same extent. But now looking at another user who watched the movie C together, because movie 4 watched, but movie user 2 also watched, but they loved it so much. And another movie that, and their rating is similar. One and 4 similar. Yes, they definitely seem to have different tastes, but you are missing you are missing their taste on A and B, for example, because you have no idea on that one yet. And based on what they have recommended, they seem to not agree so much. Movie C and movie D that they have watched together. Movie C, I would say they somewhat agree, like it's like you loved, but not too much. Five is way okay. You see 5 to be so way, because so to 3 you will say you are closer to 5 or you are closer to 0. Yeah, I do agree with you. It's like this is okay, but it wasn't bad, right? Definitely. 5, you loved it, yeah. So now you see that in this recommendation, things are very subjective in the way you're defining your like. And consider that usually when people are giving rating, there are people that are very severe and there are people that are less severe. Like, for example, me, I'm considering to like the movie was good, like, but it wasn't extra, but it was good. But you just said it was okay. Me, okay to me is like 2 or 2.5, for example. That one I would say it's okay. So you see that with this rating itself, getting actually the exact taste of each individual is not easy. But the goal actually is that you get the sense, is that I want to pinpoint people that are similar to a certain individual that just came on my platform, and I want to propose things to this individual. And yeah, that's a bit the game here. And that was the point of the exercise, and I think you guys perfectly understood and were in the move. And unlike the other method, this one also has its own challenges, in that you agree with me that to know someone, to know those that are similar to an individual, you should have some certain level of interaction with the individual, with others. I agree that you can get that maybe based on their taste, and you see that someone else's taste are similar to it. And that's when you focus on you can also focus on the items to try to pinpoint those similarity, or you can also pinpoint on their habits in general, au-delà, like above the items themselves. Then so this one can perform in domains where you don't have much content associated to the items. Like contrary to the previous method where you need to focus so much on the content, but here, even without any content or information about the person, but just because of like observations on their patterns of way of interacting on things, you can guess whether they are likely to like an item that another user like or not. But the major problem, which been the main focus of research today, is the cold start problem, which is when you have a new individual coming into the platform. It has been the main problem because when it comes to on the platform, you have no interaction with others. So you don't know on your platform who is similar to them. You have methods that are trying to counteract that, like try to envision new ways of handling this new user irrespective of information you have on this. And you also realize that for this method to be successful, you should really have enough of interactions to be able to make good decisions. You really need to have a lot of interaction between individuals so that you can really make good guesses. And this complexifies again the problem. And then you have the issue of scalability, like you are now dealing, instead of dealing with a simple problem where you just focusing on content basically, and then maybe the complexity of your problem will depend on the amount of content you're having. But here you still have the dimension of having the user inside, and you need many interactions to really make conclusive conclusion. Like the debate, for example, we had on the previous exercise where based on these few movies, like we can decide this is way, but another person based on the photo which is totally right can also decide another way, but in the end, are we right? It's only when recommending to the user that you know if you were right or wrong. So that's a bit the deal here. And because of these difficulties in each and every one, we also realize that there are advantages on each and every one of us. These are examples of systems that use collaborative filtering. In Amazon, like the first image I showed you, where they show you that users who bought this also bought this, that's collaborative. Like they identified people that were similar to you and try to tell you that they also did like this. Will you like it? And if their recommender system is good, it means that you will likely take that item. But if it's like you don't like it, it's like you will not even open the item. Like no, that's not what I like. And so that's a little bit how they try to get feedback about their recommendation. So Amazon use item-to-item collaborative filtering, which is mostly focused on the content. Like they identify people that are frequently using this kind of item together, and they want to propose items that are similar. Like when I buy milk, maybe I buy diapers at the same time. So it means that someone who comes and buy milk, they have the tendency to propose diapers to that person, assuming that it's for the baby, for example. So that's a little bit of what item-to-item collaborative filtering on Amazon does. And you can have user-to-user collaborative filtering, which now we focus on users. Maybe on Facebook, you want to recommend people, or even still on Amazon, like you've identified people that are similar, but in what sense on Amazon will you identify people that are similar? Maybe they are in the same geographical area. That's a similarity between these people. And they are in the same geographical area and they are using the same Amazon, maybe Amazon FR or Amazon CA Canada, like the still geographical area. but a combination of such information that you can have on an individual on Amazon. Then you can, based on that, to recommend things that another individual in the same geographical location did like. But you know, this is vast. The tendency that you recommend a wrong thing is very high. So you need to consider also the item. And that's what brought the development of other methods that wants to counteract that. So, petit exercise. Who wants to help us answer this? Given this schema that I wrote, hoping that my representation speaks for himself enough, what kind of similarities do you identify in this process? Like this big picture, and what could be the recommendations that we will do to this, we will recommend. Yes, Sarah? I thought Sarah spoke.
Hi. They are either both textbooks, but we like reading books by feminists on feminist.
Sorry, come again. It's a bit noisy behind you. I wasn't able to hear.
Like, I feel that they read books by feminists and feminism.
I really cannot hear you. Could you type what you're saying? Please type what you're saying. I think maybe it's network that is blurring, or it's your mic. I don't know. While she's typing in the chat, someone else can try and see who will hear the person. What are some of the similarities you identify in these two ladies? How are they similar? We are 24 of us. They read books by feminists and read book by feminists and born feminists. I don't get it. I have not understood. Oh, um they are both interested in books about feminism. Yep. Yeah, I do. I agree with you. And something else? I think that this example was not really twisted. I thought I was twisting, but I didn't twist it that much. Anyone else? I agree they are both feminists. So what will you recommend to say the lady, how would I even describe them? The lady without glasses. What will you recommend to the lady without glasses amongst these two? Okay, there's a chat. We should all be feminists to the lady without, and let me not finish your name. Gamaliel. Feminist is which book? You should give the full title. We should all be feminists by Chimamanda. Okay. Wait. But okay, it means that it's like my image is not the conveying. Chimamanda, she has already read it though. Did you? She read this alone, but both of them read this and she read it alone. So you should recommend her things from the other person. How to become a feminist. Oh, sorry, yo. How to become a feminist is which one? Where is how to become a feminist? Is there how to become a feminist? Like, I don't know the book. How to be a feminist. Okay. Yeah, you recommend this to her. Okay. I agree with you. Right, wait. I said the girl without glasses. Ah, yeah. No. The girl without glasses. So I agree with Gamaliel, who says they will recommend how to be a feminist to the lady without glasses. Now, the girl in glasses, yeah, I do agree with you that she will have instead, we should all be feminists, since we observe that her book are all feminist centered. Perfect. Thank you. That was the point. So yeah, that's a little bit. And then in your opinion, what kind of recommendation then is this? What kind of recommendation did we just do by answering this question? You can prioritize speaking as well so that I don't feel that I'm the only one speaking. No, Kosi, this cannot be content because we are in collaborative. We are basing ourselves on the interests of two people. So what you are identifying here is it item to item collaborative? It is already collaborative, yeah, totally agree. Is it item to item or user to user? For the content, I will have not included a third party. I do agree with you that based on content, so provided you only had content and you actually don't know other people who read the same type of books with her, then you will recommend those books based on the similarity of their content, like the subject topic is feminism somehow, and then you will recommend that. But then in the sense of collaborative in that you considering the fact that they are similar people, but you want to recommend them, here we are basing on things they've read together. And so I was more of item to item, because we are basing ourselves on, it's like the Amazon example of people who bought this also bought this. It's like people who read this also read this, actually. It's in that sense, this example. So that's why we are in item to item collaborative filtering. Does it make sense? Ça marche. Okay. I think we've had enough examples. So yeah, I think we've understood a bit the principle of each of these methods, and because of the strengths each have and the weaknesses the other have, to make the best of both worlds of those strengths, we have the hybrid method that came about, where we combine the strengths of the content-based filtering and the collaborative filtering to make recommendations. So to make a recap, on content-based filtering, we compare product features and match them and recommend based on how many common features do they have in common. And for the collaborative filtering, we group people actually, and then we try to get similarities out of them and try to use that to make recommendations to those people. But we realize that at each point of this method, there is a drawback. Like sometimes you don't have enough content, sometimes you don't have enough interaction with other people, so you simply can't handle the new individuals that come in. That's the cold start problem, I think. So there comes the hybrid method, so that when you have no information about the interactions and a new individual does, you make use of content base to try to leverage that, like make a first recommendation to that person based on what you have information on the content probably, and you leverage the recommendation by that strength of content-based filtering and vice versa. So most of the recommendation systems that are in production focus more on collaborative filtering, because they assume that similar people will like similar things, for example, and so they actually recommend based on similarity among users, or recommend based on similarity amongst items of those users. So the user is still always playing a main role in the collaborative filtering. And out of this model, we have ML-based model like clustering, association rules, matrix factorization, and neural networks. And you also have graph-based methods like knowledge graphs and graph database recommendation systems. And today we have other emerging recommendation techniques from these hybrid techniques that usually use really many different ways of combining these items to make recommendation. And it has been successful, the hybrid recommendation method, that you will probably see most of the recommender system nowadays focus on the hybrid method. And that is driven by the need to personalize the recommendation to a particular individual. That enterprises want users to stick. They want them to stick on their platform, to keep scrolling, keep looking for items. You get happy when you're just looking for a few things. You see another thing that's interesting. You want to look again, and so on. And then you're killing your time and you're wasting time there. But the like it is generating them money. And that's why they want to apply this system. And you have other recommendation systems that are not personalized. You mostly have it on Netflix. Netflix, when you're on your account, you have most popular movies, that they rank a list of most popular movies, not necessarily movies of your taste. But you have that, and people might want to watch movie because of they are trending. So they focus on trending movies, and so you have that type. It's not really personalized to you. And you also have that technique of recommendation system where they take into account the context in which you are. The context could be, it could encompass your, now today, what is even trending today? I think the Barbie movie is trending, although I have not watched it and I have no intention of watching it. But I think it is the trending the movie right now. So maybe people will go and watch that movie just because it's trending. Like you've overheard Barbie movie, and you're like, well, what are they even talking? Like Woman King. That was a trend. I don't know if it's still trending, but it trended. And I'm still to watch it. I've not watched it yet. So that's a bit the concept of this non-personalized way of recommendation, is that you want to recommend also based on trends. So it's not personal to my desires, like what I need, but it's what is trending out there. And people like things on that. So this is a bit to give you a picture of the leading companies that are actively using recommendation system, and you see that they actively use hybrid recommendation system. So hybrid recommendation system is taking the lead here, and you can have a lot of fields and areas in which they could be applied. So it's really a growing research area because every day you have other different types of ways of trying to make recommendations, trying to make them so that they should be inclusive enough, diverse enough, and less toxic. We'll see that in the advantages and disadvantages. I think we've almost spoken for an hour now, and you'll probably be angry with me of not making a pause. So I will just remind you quickly about the feedback form that you have here to fill it, giving your comment. It helps to improve on the way of giving you lectures. So don't forget to fill it and share what you didn't like, what you maybe liked, and what you suggest for improvement and stuff like that. And I suggest we make a short break of say 5 minutes so that you can breathe. Let me allow you to breathe. And we continue on the next parts. And if you have any question, you can always ask first. You can ask me questions before you go to break. But I suggest we make a pause here. Can go grab a coffee. And we come back at 11:15. Any question, can drop it in the chat, or you can speak. Okay, we are back. Is everyone back? Great, great, great. So I hope you had time to digest what we've covered so far. I thought it's not gonna take so long, but maybe I should speed up. Let me know if I am too slow. You should tell me if I'm too slow or too fast, but I think I'm not fast. But let me know. In any case, so let me not be rushing and let me not be too slow as well on the work. So to continue, let's start with this warm-up. According to you, which of these metrics mostly represents reality? Look at it carefully, attentively. Take into consideration the colors. They are going to help you identify things to identify. Look at it closely and tell me, according to you, which one presents reality? Sarah says C. Why? I like answers that are accompanied with arguments. Would you please, Sarah, support your answer, please? And others, feel free to tell me. Everybody should say something here. You have to make a choice. I'm waiting in the chat. Drop your choice. A, B, or C. And prepare your argument as well. Really? You see a missing value in C? All these matrices are full. How are you seeing the missing value? Oh, the yellow, you can't see the yellow. Oh, sorry, sorry. It's because of the yellow color. Sorry. They are all full, the matrices. They are all full. No, don't worry, you're not colorblind. I think me too, I see, but not well as well. That was not the right choice of colors. So rest assured you're not colorblind. I don't think this should. I think it's not very clear though. Because of the background also, I didn't use the appropriate background probably. Really? Each users have similar ratings? How do you spot that? How do you see that similar ratings amongst them, all users? Look very well. Look very keenly. Think you're missing something. Look keenly, like each user. That's the problem I have with your statement. It assumes that they all have similar, and you choose C. If they had similar, I think you should be choosing B. Or maybe this chat is covering the screen. Are you sure you're making the right choices? A is on the left, B is on the right, and C is at the bottom. So having the same rating would be B then. So if I'm focusing on your argument, you're choosing C, but you're saying they have the same rating. Chinedu, what do you think? I'm waiting to see your response. Not heard from you so far. Abdul. I've heard from Damilola. I've not heard from many of you guys. At least here is ABC. ABC just dropped ABOC. ABOC. Just drop it in the chat and now let's okay. Cozy says A. See, because each user doesn't have exactly the same things as B, and A looks like some users are not consistent. Here, because each user doesn't have exactly the same rating as B. And A looks like some users are not consistent. How do you see consistency? Interesting. Can you unmute yourself and explain what you mean by consistency in their ratings? Okay, interesting. Gamaliel, can you explain what you mean by A looks like some users are not consistent? Explain your consistency. What do you mean? How inconsistent are they?
Okay, good day.
They.
Um, I'm looking at the ratings, and for B, everything is just the same. Every user, so I think it's like as if it was just maybe copied. Maybe nobody really watched it, they just following whatever it's that was given previously. You know. Why for C, C is more. If you are looking at each user for each movie, if maybe it's an average, for me, I categorize three as an average rate. So if it's an average rating, it's more of, okay, it's a little, it might be bad, it might be also good. That is, looking at it like halfway, the glass is halfway full or halfway empty. So if I'm looking at it that way, for each user in C, the first feature or the first movie is having an average rating. Then it's just only one user that is a little bit above the one rating. Right? While if I'm comparing it with A, the first movie in A, they are giving like it's having more of an average and four rating. They have three occurring twice, then two and then one person is not with a four rating. So I feel it doesn't really give much uh, recommendation. Like it doesn't really tell that the citizen is making sense. It's exactly nice. It's showing that for some give it a four rating, person might not have a good taste. And it's so but if I'm comparing it with C, that first movie is showing that only one person is giving it a four ratings, just one. Why others are giving it more, like there are a lot of average ratings, and the one person is just giving it like a little bit above average. So that's what I just feel like just observing that I might be wrong. So all I just that. Then also if you go to the second movie for C is showing that three people are giving it a very poor rating. Then one is having two, the other one is three. So in a way, for me, I'll just say the movie is bad. For C, the movie is totally bad. But for A, I'm seeing a five rating. I'm seeing four. I'm seeing 3. Then just only 2 people are giving it a very poor rating. So I feel C is more realistic to me than A. So that's what I just been observing from each maybe kind of
Interesting. Thank you so much for your detailed explanation of your choice. It's amazing how we can have really different arguments on this matrix. And based on the way we're looking, I'm curious, like you focusing on how the ratings are and kind of judging, like I really like your development actually on those ratings. And I actually, my own argument on the choice of C, which is C to me also, that is close to reality. My argument is closer to what Damilola gave. Like we can identify similar movies and similar users by their ratings of movies. So, for example, we see that the movies I highlighted and the individuals I highlighted here, they rated movies the same way. So we identify similar users. And we have movies that got the same ratings. So they are similar in that sense. So the idea was to show that but the different reality, like in our actions, the different things we can identify. B assumes that we are all equal and all movies are all equal, which is not true, right? Like every movie is getting the same rating, everybody's rating movies the same way. That's not reality. That's totally false. But A instead shows that everybody is different and every movie is different. We don't have any similar rating here. Everybody's rated things differently. And every movie have different distribution of ratings. They all have different distribution of ratings. That's not reality. In reality, we do have some similarities and differences, but we are not totally different. Because if that was the case, then there's no point of trying to recommend things based on all these factors, trying to see someone that's similar or blah, blah, blah. Then that's not gonna be the case. Then we'll be focusing only on content. Like you read something and we will not even focus on content because we'll assume that all contents are different. So there will be no point in doing recommendation system. So it's black and yellow read black and yellow read the first movie the same position in A. Really? Where is yellow? Wait, the last one is yellow, huh? And black. Wait. No, the movie Castel Wawa Wadla. Black gave 2 and yellow 5. How do you see same? The first movie? I know, but it's either you're identifying similar users and identifying similar movie. So if you conclude that the individuals are similar on the first movie, I said there is intersection on the first movie. There is intersection. Yeah, there is intersection on the first movie, but is that enough evidence to conclude that they are similar? No. I agree with you. Yeah, they rated the first movie the same, but all the other movies, they rated them differently. So you might not conclude that they are the same. Like what I'm trying to put forward here, that is the fact that we can really identify patterns that spot people that have the same taste. Like same taste, I mean like they like the same things in a way that you can propose something with genuine confidence that that person will like it. And you also have things that kind of, they are similar in that sense, that you can clearly, because with this example that you spotted, which is also key, it tells us that we can have a coincidence. We can coincidentally rate things the same way, but that doesn't mean that in A doesn't mean that we are similar, because there are a lot of differences we have in common that are too much that we are unable to make a conclusion on our level of similarity. Yes, Tejumadi, you have the floor.
Yes, excuse me, I understand you, but you were making the argument that there is no overlap at all. Like in A, it just seems like everyone read things differently. And I was trying to make the point that it looks like some of the users do rate the same. For example, like green and purple rated like two different movies the same way, and their rating for the third movie is very similar. Like 1 and 2 is similar, 4 and 3 is not too far apart. You know, and you just had. So I'm just it's only like the gap between green and purple is only in the first movie, which is like 4 and 1. But in the other movies, one could argue that they're so somehow similar. So this is why I was trying to make that note. But I understand that there's no complete overlap, which is what the point I think you're trying to make in this example. But in machine learning, with all of the randomness, you would never really get complete overlap. And I mean, maybe this is not the case for such data like this that you collect.
Yeah, you're totally right. And yeah, maybe saying that we don't rate things the same thing wasn't the word I should use, but instead say we like the same thing, like we don't like the same things actually, because the goal of the rating is to get the sense of what people like, and the figures are just random figures, just put like that randomly, to actually show that in like those I highlighted, the way we rated is just to say, well, we are similar by our way of rating. And that's why what we trying to identify here was that pattern. But of course, we can, in real life, we can coincidentally give the same ratings exactly. But the point is not that exactitude of our ratings, but it is to get by the sense of our taste. And A was trying to represent that, well, we are all different in our taste, totally different, which is not the truth. We can have similarities, and objects also can have similarities. And it is thanks to the existence of those similarities, that we trying to exploit that and make recommendations. So thank you very much for putting that point forward. I think it's something I put, but there wasn't really focus on it. And so, yeah, that is what I summarize here in this image to like clearly present what were the things I was trying to point out in this with these three matrices. That A shows that we are different, objects are different, and there is no similarity. And C spots some similarity, like although there are differences, but there are also similarities both in items and in individuals. And B portrays that we are all the same and things are all the same, which is not true. So that's why C actually reflected reality. So like promised, we want to dive into one of the methods that we saw, which was under collaborative filtering, the matrix factorization method. So matrix factorization method is one of the popular methods when recommendation system emerged, and we've seen many successful algorithms of platforms like Netflix, that they even had a competition on Kaggle for people to improve their models, and the methods that was used was matrix factorization. And it was mainly like the technique drew from this matrix way of representing the information. And the idea here is to try to guess those missing values that we don't have. Like, you agree with me that when you buy items online, you rarely go back and rate it like they ask you, true or false. Do you always go back and rate, give your feeling about the idea? Whereas some of us actually rely on those ideas to decide if we're buying, because it's online, you don't have the opportunity to actually see you don't see the item, so you want to have the opinion of people who bought it, and so you are interested in knowing what they say, what they said. And that's why the owner of the platform actually asks you, what did you think about this item that you bought? Like, how would you rate it, and give a comment on how you liked it or no. Some of us we do, but I think some of us we don't. And some of us actually rely on those who did. So actually it's a good thing to do, maybe, because it helps others to do. But yeah, I'm part of those that rarely also go and rate. Although I base myself on the rating to actually buy. So so actually it is thanks to those ratings that we can get a sense of the habits of people on our platform, on the e-commerce platform or Netflix or whatever platform we are inside. And so, as we previously saw, these ratings are being filled in the form of a matrix that we have, and the matrix is too sparse. Like, we have a lot of missing values due to people like me that don't go and rate when they are asked to. So we are unable to provide this information, and that makes the job even difficult, because we have few ratings and we want to use that to try to improve our recommendation system. And imagine the amount of items that are on the platform and the amount of individuals that goes on that platform. Let's say Amazon, for example. So this matrix will be very huge. And in this huge matrix, you have some points that you know, but you have a lot of empty spaces. And so the matrix factorization method tries to get a sense of how do we best guess those missing values that we have in our matrix. How can we do that? And so it goes by splitting this matrix into two smaller matrices, one which would be the user matrix, and the other would be the item matrix. And we'll try to get these small matrix, user matrix and item matrix, to have it like the model that we guess the missing values. So your optimum goal here is to train a model, like get the perfect U, and like U for the user matrix, and say I for the item matrix. So you want to get the perfect U and the perfect I matrix that you can combine to get the missing value, that can give you that model that will perfectly guess the missing value. So that being said, to get those values filled for these two individuals, it's as follows. Let's say that user Violet likes science fiction movie. That is why you have a 4 here, to represent that they really like science fiction, but they hate drama. That's an information you have, you know. And you know that this movie is a drama movie, and it's not a science fiction movie. So that's why it has 4 for drama, because it is actually a drama movie, but it's not a science fiction movie. So since we already know the different kinds of recommendation system, what kind of recommendation system is this? Listening. Any volunteer to tell us what kind of recommendation is this? You guys like the chat? You don't like to take? Yay! Content. We're focusing on the content. And we're focusing on the genre of the movie. So we're focusing on the genre of the movie to get a value that we will assign to the how do I say, to the relationship between user violet and the movie citation. So that's what we try to do here. And so this is how this metric is built. So we have two features that we know, drama and science fiction. And based on these two features, we want to build this matrix that will represent this combination between our users and the items. So to get each value, it's simply the product that we saw previously of here is the level of interest that individual Violet has for the science fiction and drama, and here is to what extent is the movie having drama, or like it is more of a drama movie or more of a fiction movie, like in that sense, think of it in that way. These are just random values, huh? Just to illustrate to you. And so given that you know this, then you want to build this matrix, and then you're in the sense of content filtering here. So it's basically 8 times 8. Like it's dot product now, 8 plus 8. And it gives you the value, and so on and so forth for each value. So you have 2 plus 0, you have 4, and so on and so forth. And that's how you get our matrix. And then you can now easily, well, this assumes that you have values for each individual according to this, but in reality, no, you don't. So 0 here that I put, it could inform us that the person don't like science fiction movie, because we are here, we are not on ratings here, but we are more on the taste of people that we know, and then we've kind of ranked their state from 0 to 1 to 5 to 4, let's say. And then we've ranked a movie that way also, so we know that information, and then we build this matrix. And then now, with this matrix, you can easily guess. Well, this is not a good information to guess because there's no missing value. I didn't provide a missing value, but if there were a missing value, knowing this, you will assume you have a value for you and for individual matrix and an item matrix, and then you will train your model to guess. So you exclude some of the values that you know. You make the model learn how to learn this, to study how to get this value. So your model tries to build these two matrix, and it will start from random values and try until it clearly gets those that you excluded. And then once it is capable of doing that, then it means that it will be able also of guessing well which individuals to propose what to them. Like it will understand each taste of every individual. Is it clear enough what I just said? Is it clear? Is it clear on how to train your model in this context? I will assume it's clear. No silence. There's silence. So for instance, let's say we are in the context now that we know whether they like or they don't like. That's what we know about individuals. And we know to what extent a movie has action in it, or to what extent is it a comedy movie. So please, for example, for user Violet, what are we going to give for Shanty Town. Are they going to like it or dislike it? For the movie Shanty Town. So what would be the value? So here, like or dislike 1 or 0. Let's say it's 1 or 0. They like or dislike. They're gonna dislike. Someone said like. Please give me the value of the matrix. It will be easier so that I should understand your point. Because I agree with the dislike because 2, they like action, yeah, but Shanti is having only 2 for action. So why did you say he's going to like Shanty Town? Kosi, how did you get your like? And Gamalia, why did you say 1? Your skin is not showing everything. Yeah, but here we are not with rating, don't forget. It's the extent to which a movie has action or comedy on a scale of 0 to 4. And then like is 1 and dislike is 0. So you make the same computation of previously. The chat box. So when I put the chat box, I'm blocking you. Sorry, I didn't know that. Let me put it here because you guys don't want to speak, so I have to be looking at the chat to know what you guys are saying. But if you were talking, then I will not be looking at the chat. Okay, I have removed the chat from the obstacle. So I agree with Gamelia. It's going to be 2, and that's a dislike, like Teju said. It's a dislike to me as well. Okay. So let's do another one. The Black Book. Will Violet like it? The Black Book. He will like it. Yeah, I agree with you. He's gonna like it also. Definitely, I do agree. And did you guys watch it? Did you guys watch the Black Book? The way you guys are not answering to did you guys like, is it that I just choose movies that you do not like? And how is it possible that you did not see the movies? I think you saw. And it was good, right? Did you guys like it? Me, I did like it. So yeah, so that's the value of what we just tried to guess here. I think we've all understood the principle on how to get these values. So that's we focusing on the content. Now, given that, let's say we don't know actually, we just have some information on let's say the ratings, for example, that people gave on movies. And we have a lot of ratings that we don't know. And here the ratings go from 0 to 5. So where the 0 is an actual rating that was given, and where there is question mark is we don't know. They didn't give. They did like me. Well, I finished watching the movie, but I don't want to rate it. Kind of. So I'm giving them a hard time. They are going to have a matrix full of empty spaces. And you don't know based on what did they give those ratings. Was it because it was an action movie? Or was it because it was drama? Or was it because there was an actor, a particular actor? You have no information about that. You just know they gave that rating. And you're trying to guess, you want to do the same job. You want to guess the missing values, the empty spaces in this matrix. And but you don't know based on what do they like this movie. So here we are in the collaborative filtering sense where we're trying to combine the like we want to detect patterns in this our matrix that will help us guess the features that are important to estimate the values here. So we are trying to guess the matrix above, the user matrix, and so we want to guess hold the latent features that defines this matrix. So what matrix factorization tries to do is to going from this big matrix with the values that you want to guess. And it is this using the same principle that we have. It's the dot product of these two that will give values here. But the thing is, you know it here, and you don't know the latent factors. You just know, you just want to guess some features that you don't know, some features that exist in the movies, and you want to guess them in this. You want to use them to have a model that will easily tell you the taste of people, how likely, help you predict the ratings, because here we're dealing with ratings. It will help you predict the ratings. So somehow you are trying to project each movie in this space. For example, let's say this is an example now. Let's say we have movies that are geared towards female actors. No, that's why I'm calling it a female movie, but it's just symbolic, like directed by female, like movie directed by females. And you have people that like this kind of movies. They like movies that they have leading female actors in the movie, for example. And you have other movies that are geared towards action movies. And same as you have people that have a taste for action movies, you also have people that have you have movies that are geared more towards action, or you have movies that are Nigerian movie, we have movies that are drama movie. So this is just an explanation. So what you're trying to actually, by estimating these latent features, you're trying to project each individual and each item into this space. And it is an unknown space for the moment because you don't know. You have a couple of ideas, but you want to build a model that we guess. You don't, people didn't tell you that I put 5 here because it's an action movie. No. They just put a 5 and they watched the movie. That's it. That's what you know. And you don't know what in the movie was interesting. Is it because there was this actor inside the movie? Is it why they liked it? Or is it because it was action movie? You get my point? I'm asking you, not answer. Thank you for answering. Oh no, you didn't answer. It's the feedback form. Yeah, don't forget to answer the feedback form as requested. Oh, thank you. Wait. How do I go back? Oh, oh, sorry. Big word. The women king is geared towards action and female. Yes. Totally correct. Yeah, in my mind is that it's the mixture of action and drama. That's why I put it that way. And you are totally right there. It can be this way as well, actually. And no, actually, yeah, actually it's best this way instead of that way. Totally right. It's best the other way, towards female leaders and female leading actor and drama, and it's also an action movie. So in that sense, it was going to be tilted mostly towards here, quoi. Genre, it's an action movie also, although I've not watched it yet, so that's why I'm having a mitigé. I totally agree with you, Tejo. But I hope the point I'm trying to make is clear. Was trying to put these movies that we know so that we remember fast on what was said. But it seems like I'm choosing movies that most people maybe didn't see yet. And so, in summary, globally, okay, thank you, it's clear. So globally, with the matrix factorization method, it's either we focus on the content that insinuates that you want to use the knowledge you have about each content to try to build this matrix. But the collaborative is, you don't know. You have some values that could be ratings, and you want to learn the pattern that exists in there, that pattern you don't know. You want to learn those patterns. And so you're trying to build that's UI matrix, U for user matrix, and item matrix that will give you those values that you want to predict. And the goal, what it does, a lot of things here. It helps you to kind of reduce your large matrix into two smaller matrices, where you do the dot product and have values, you get back the big matrix. So you are kind of reducing your problem to estimating this and this, the values for this and this. And with the machine learning methods you've already been learning towards this during this cohort, I think you've learned a lot of methods that can help you guess these features. Like I think you had a class on feature extraction. You had a class that taught you how to extract feature in a non-supervised way. So that's a bit the goal here. In a non-supervised manner, you have a starting point though. You will give yourself a space. Let's say maybe it will be a 3 by here. I think what, let's say we have 100 movies, 100,000 movies, and we have 2,000 users, right? So you will build a matrix of, you will fix yourself, let's say, let's fix ourselves 100 features. And so you have 100 by 100,000 movie for, say matrix, pardon, for movie, and 100 by 2004 users, and you're trying to make the dot product and trying to guess values. And so you use many methods of your choice, but in the literature there exist a couple of techniques that are proposed to help you deal with that. So you have the objective function that you can use, and what kind to use depend on the context and what's more important to you. You're confused about the arrow. Let me go back. The arrows here, it's showing the size of this matrix, this big matrix. So you have 1,000 movie and you have 200 users. So the size of this matrix is this times this. We give you this. You have 2 million. And then you are reducing it to this movie, this matrix, 100 by, you have 100, no, you choose to have 100 features, let's say. And so you have 100 by 1,000 movie. And this one you have 100 by 2,000 movie. And the sum of the two makes the new size, which gives you the total of 300,000. And that's why I say this problem helps you reduce the size of the matrix. 100 movies of size 100,000. What do you mean by 100 movies?
So you I'm looking at the arrow on top that has 100,000 movie, and underneath you put a size of 100,000. But when you're talking, you said something about 100. I just want to know if
100 features.
If that is like the 100,000 size.
Is the
How
size
did you come up? Because it has 100 features.
Yeah.
And 1,000 movies.
100
this
movies,
is it, right?
1,000.
Okay. Then this is clear. I just messed it up.
Okay. Yeah, we have 100 features for both matrices, and we know that we have 100 movies from this big matrix. We knew we had 1,000 movie, 1,000 movie in our matrix, and we knew we have 200 users. And so we are reducing it to these two matrices, and we are trying to find our features here is 100 features we give ourselves. And so we have now a new size for each movie, and the dot product gives us this total size. This is the sum of the two, the size of each. matrix. And that shows how we've reduced the problem also space-wise. So now how we get this missing values now will depend on the objective we have, like I previously said. Good, thanks for the question. And so for example, if you have observations only, and you care about predicting those exact observations, and you want to ignore the missing entries, for example, you don't want to handle them, then you use this approach. So you are calculating the distance, the Pigeon and Go distance between the difference of the previous matrix, which is this A, and your estimated matrix. So basically, how you evaluate if your model does well is after you've set random values for these two matrices, you make the dot product, then you compare with the previous matrix. And before that, you have entries, like you focus on the entries, and you're trying to see which of the combinations of these of entries of these two matrices give you the observed matrix. And you're focusing on that, and then you see this distance will reduce when you're doing great. It will reduce, and then your model will have learned how to predict the values of that matrix, known values, that it has focused itself on known values. Now, had it been that you want to account for confidence in the observation of the data, like confidence in the observed data, that is the values you already knew in the matrix, and you care about the missing values, of course. And then you can set weights on the observed values, like you're trying to tune your model so that it should be good at it give more weight to what is known, for example. But you're also interested somehow in predicting what is not known. I hope you get that point. And so in that case, now you will try to assign a weight to the observed values, and then now your difference is going to be this difference that you have between the estimation, which you have some estimation also of unknown values, plus those of the observe one times a certain weight that you give yourself to, and zero here is for the missing, like those that didn't have a value, but here you will have the exact value of those that had a certain value. And in that sense, the way your model is learning is it is learning to predict the values that were actually put, like the real values that were actually there, but it's also estimating, proposing values for the missing ones. And so in this case, you're both interested in the observed values, and you're also interested in the missing value, and you try to evaluate how is it estimating those missing values. And then you have the SVM method, which simply you put 0 on the missing value. You consider them to be 0, and then you try to compute your matrix and try to find the difference, in fact. Just like it's usually done in image classification, I think. So if you want to read more in details, it's well explained in the Google Developer course on recommendation system. This is where I got the image. I think they really try to show the different aspects which are key in how you decide to evaluate those values. It's the weight you choose to assign to the missing value and the observed. Like either you want to penalize or you want to Yeah, so to wrap up, like I said, the object, I'm seeing that I'm even going above time when I thought I thought my course was having less content to make 2 hours. So I'm gonna try to be fast finish it. So as to wrap up, the choice of your objective function here will depend on your data set and your goal, like what you want to achieve, like who do you give priority to. So if you are giving priority to the prediction of missing entries, you will use the weighted form, because you ensure that user not rating something means something. Not that it doesn't just mean that it's 0. It's either they watched and they didn't rate, like myself, or they didn't watch, simply. So you care about that information, and so you want to consider that, so you use that matrix. And if, of course, if you just interested at the pattern you want to observe in your data set, then you use the SVM, because there you just put 0 where there is missing value, and you're just trying to learn that pattern, like we did when we were trying to guess what to recommend to another user based on what the pattern we were observing in the example that was generated. So if you have like a complete data that is having enough entries, is rich in content, for example, and then you will just use the matrix factorization with the observation, like the first option that we have, like you have enough information, so you can just focus with those observed value, try to learn those observed value, and once you've done that, you're sure that your model, you will have enough content. So to wrap up on like giving you a big picture of the recommendation system itself that is put out there in production, like Netflix and Amazon itself, this image, I like it because it doesn't rely only on the algorithm, because algorithm is one part of it, but just to show you that a recommendation system itself is made up of many building blocks. That's why in the first in amongst the first slide, I defined it and told you that the recommendation system itself is combining the recommendation algorithm, and the system engineering that's behind. So you have a whole process that is going on offline, and you have another process that's going on online, and you have a part of among these two which is focused on retrieving information from content. That's where you're trying to get enough information that you need to build your model, both on the point of view of the users or the items themselves. And that's where you do the training on what you know, what you don't know. You're trying to build something that can easily guess the trends you've observed in your clients, let's say, for example. And once that's done, you have to now materialize that algorithm on how do I give the recommendation? How do I recommend now? So your algorithm is just in charge of building, then giving you some scores on some specific items, and then you decide how you do about now those recommendations. And so that part is like, how are you deciding to ranking them to give to individuals, and which part of it is done offline and online. So all the feature extraction training, there's a whole pre-processing that's done on the data behind, and then what's put forward is the ranking. And now the ranking will not only rely on the scores of your algorithm. You can take many factors into consideration, like the geographical area, the age of the person also to whom you are recommending, and that's how it will filter what you recommend to them or not. So it will not only rely on the results of your algorithm. So that was a bit the goal of putting forward to you this information. I have attached among the resources the video that explains this, so for you to kind of get in depth into this. So without chopping more of your time, I've prepared a little bit of advantages and disadvantages of this, so that you kind of keep that in mind. Like, yeah, it's good. It's a solution globally that is bringing, but there are obstacles as well. So there are advantages and as well as there are disadvantages. Talking of advantages, well, I think we all know it helps us choose easily It helps us discover things we don't know, provided it's diverse enough. Like if the recommender system is taking into account diversity in its content, then it's gonna help us discover things, and that saves us time. It helps us have things that are personalized for ourselves. Like when you are listening to music, you love continue to listen what you like. Sometimes you are in the mood of not discovering something that is not in your comfort zone. So it helps us on that, and like in reducing noise in the sense that you don't have to go to that bulky step of having to look for a lot of things before looking them. And for companies, whoa, it really increases their sales when you are on the platform that can easily show you what you like. You really go straight to the point and then you buy and you want to come back there. So it really helps us. But some of the disadvantages is that on our end users, being used to just going with what is proposed to you, then in the end you end up making choices that are actually not your choices. You're just choosing because it was pop-up and yeah, it's related to the zone of interest, and maybe you don't want to waste your time to reason too much on it, and pop, you take it. You are losing your aptitude of making independent choice about things, which is not always good. So it increases that tendency of not deciding on what you're choosing, and then it limits your discovery. For example, when we had that argument on when I said I'll propose the horror movie, and he was like, no, he will not propose the horror movie because it's only actor A that was the interesting factor. Well, if your system has to just focus on that, then because I like horror movie, then you intoxicate with me with horror movie, and you might disturb my social aspect because I will just be watching horror, and that will impact me. I will never discover anything else other than horror movie, and that's not good, I think. So that's why there exists other methods to kind of fight against this part. So the filtering perspective, echo chamber, exactly, that's the right word. So you see, and there is also this gender bias that is pronounced in the sense that because someone is I don't know, having an opinion that is biased towards a certain gender, because your recommender system has noticed that he's just gonna amplify it. He's amplifying it to that person and not showing to that person other perspective, other ways of like changing his opinion, like that the person will be confident that, oh no, many people agree with me, and so he will be confident in his biased mindset, and the system will only amplify that. So that is why diversity is necessary in a recommendation system. So yeah, those are a couple of things, and the privacy issues that come around, because if I can guess your habit totally, then I know you perfectly, and damn, there are a lot of things I can do that I will make you do unconsciously. So your privacy is attained here. So you use some sort of losing your autonomy without knowing. So those are the dangers of a recommendation system. And so for some applications, well, there's, like I told you before, there is a very vast range in which it can be applied. But that is why we don't rate LOL. Exactly. So you can find a recommendation system in many areas. I just named few here, and with some few examples, hoping that it rings. You already know some of them. Multimedia content, music, Spotify. In fintech, for personalized financial service, to advise you on which investment choose, stuff like that. E-commerce, Amazon is an example. In transport and accommodation, it's also helpful to propose you either the best accommodation based on previous experience of other people to recommend you, and also your hobby, your style, things you like, and also in health, in well-being, recommending you therapy and stuff like that. It can be used in news recommendation, in media, like recommending you articles you have to use and articles you're likely to interest in, even in online training, proposing you courses that are tailored to your needs and interests. And on social media, recommending you friends and LinkedIn connections, stuff like that. So there's a very wide range of applications. So I've put here a bunch of, let me understand what, sorry. Please help me understand. What, please? Elijah? What's your question, please?
Sorry, Teju was Madam Pafonja was saying that that's why we don't rate O. So I want to know why they don't rate so that I want to understand why she doesn't like rating or something like that. So like help us to understand why so we too will not be rating.
Teju, why don't you like
Oh
rating?
no. No, I was just alluding to Foutse's point about privacy, having a system that understands perfectly everything about you. So not giving as much information about yourself means that you're not able to like you're not able to track everything that the user does because a lot of the systems are not incentivized to prioritize your privacy, but mostly business. So I was just making fun of yeah, we talked about not rating, going back
Exactly.
to rate when you have the content because then you don't know if I like it or not, right?
Exactly.
Which is not good for the machine learning algorithm. But like
But it's somewhat good for
if
you.
you have now, if you have like a business that is not prioritizing your own privacy in the sense that they want to continue to um assume they know you. I'm choosing my words carefully right now because there's always like a double-edged sword. There's good and bad.
Yeah.
And I work in privacy, so it's like you know
Hmm.
you need to have systems that
Definitely.
respect users' privacy, but it does not seems to be that way for a lot of systems at the
Exactly.
moment. There's increasing work to make it better, but there's not a lot of incentive, maybe to for them in terms of money. Like you lose money maybe if you cannot. Anyway, I'll stop rambling now. But this is my why I said that, but more like to joke, nothing serious.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I hope he understood though. He asked, he responded in the chat. So these are some resources that I provided in case you want to dive more. Some of them dive more into specific methods. In case maybe you want to dive more into it or something was not clear, so you can always use this material to see a little bit how. And this link is more of this course actually where I made the Medium page where I mostly explain some stuff in detail, like talking more than the slide. So in case there was things that you forgot or were missing, maybe it might help. I don't know. It doesn't contain all of the content of this slide, but I started doing something like that and I have provided. So I found these resources interesting. So when you have time, you can check it out for more context. And I think that's it. So these are some example of platforms that use recommendation system. So you should understand that it's really a demanding field and it's making his mark. Like it's using a lot of things that you're using are having a recommendation system behind. That's why your user experience maybe is interesting. So in this, among these images, some are using and some that I put is because they can use. So maybe they're not yet using, but based on the activity they are doing, they can use a recommendation system. So it's just giving you a bigger picture of things that use the system. So that's it for the course. A quick reminder of the comment form. Don't forget to leave out your comment. It helps improve the lecture. I use your previous recommendation to tailor my presentation, for example. And if there were still drawbacks or things you find that were not there and you hoped for it to be there, you can share that in the form, and it's gonna help improve next lecture and help me improve also in my way of giving a lecture. So thank you all, and if you have questions, please feel free. I've chopped 20 minutes of your time. Damn, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I hope you had a great time. And yeah, I'm open if you have other questions. And I'll leave the floor to the moderator if there's something else.
All right, thank you very much. If there are any other questions, please raise your hand or just type them into the chat. I think a lot of people enjoyed the class. Recommender systems are always interesting.
Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure to give this course and to prepare it. From the preparation to giving it was a great pleasure doing it. Looking forward to more.
Okay.
And I hope the resource will help for the lab that you have in few minutes,
Yeah.
in the next hours.
That's in mind. I think maybe we should just draw the curtains here so people can rest a little bit before going over to the lab. I'm sure you guys will enjoy the lab because then you get to work with data, right? Or
And
code.
feel free to reach out if you have any question. You have my email in the slide, so feel free, or LinkedIn, whatever. I'll always be happy to answer you as I can.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for also attending. Make sure to join the lab in some 38 minutes. And that'll be it. So, adios.
Thank you. Bye.